You know, sometimes someone will be like, hey, listen to this thing with their earphone, and then I put it in my ear, and I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I have
sensitive.
really sensitive ears.
Yeah.
I'm a baby. Little baby.
That's good. I like that.
My
a
ears
sweet
are
little
really
baby.
tiny, see?
Yeah, you
baby-
do have
remember, yeah.
adorable ears.
Little
Yeah.
baby ears.
Just
Little
adorable.
shallot ears.
Yeah, little shallots.
Yeah.
This is the onions of the world.
Welcome to Disciplined Stoners, the gateway drug to mindfulness.
To think that we started this podcast to fight a stigma, only to uncover so much love that we realized that you can't put your energy anywhere but what you want.
Look deeper. Feel more. Tune in.
So much love. The Disciplined Stoners.
We're not here to distract ourselves.
The gateway drug to mindfulness.
We're here to learn. We're here to grow.
Yeah, but they'll get bigger. Ears
Will
and
they?
ears
They
and
grow.
nose continue. I don't know if it's grow necessarily, but I think the cartilage just with gravity it ends up elongating.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
And welcome back to another episode of Disciplined Stoners. I'm your host, Ellevan.
My name is Winnie, and we are the gateway drug to mindfulness.
And today, oh my God, I don't know how else to say it real quick off top, but the narcissistic I am is there would probably be no Ellevan that you know unless there was this dude that came into my journey. He's backed me up so much, he has a permanent imprint of my butt on his arm. I'm kidding. We have an amazing, amazing musician and friend of ours. I'm going to do his actual bio. He's a slick combination of pop and disco, guaranteed to live in your head rent-free, sharing stages with Cyndi Lauper and the Arkells, just to name a few. Jem is no stranger to the industry, making appearances at the Rivoli, the Scotiabank Arena, and even appearing on eTalk Canada. His first EP, AFRONAUT, made its debut on CBC Q in 2022, making him a finalist for the CBC Searchlight contest and the Canada's Walk of Fame Emerging Music Program. A seasoned touring musician, Jem has performed at Osheaga, Ottawa, Toronto Pride, Afropunk Paris, Reeperbahn in Hamburg, Germany, and many more. A Toronto local but Ottawa native, the award-winning singer-songwriter pianist has backed Juno-winning nominated artists like Lou Cala, Yukon Blonde, Tanika Charles, and more. Equal parts writer, producer, arranger, and performer, the queer artist is aimed and ready to take the world by storm. Please get your Jones up for your new friend, our homie from Time, Jem!
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here.
Oh my God.
This took some time.
It
We
did.
needed to be patient with this podcast specifically. He was not patient. He wanted it to happen 2-3 months ago, I think. Yeah, it was summer when we first tried.
I wanted it to happen as soon as the podcast got like kind of good.
Amen.
As soon as I could feel like if you come on, we'll give you some clips that will benefit you somehow in the universe. As soon as it got there, I was like, okay, let's start to roll in the musicians. And within the past couple months, we've had Fat Sound. Jem, I just can't over talk anymore about your music journey. How the hell are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What have you been up to?
So I've just been sort of like floating around, working on some music. I'm working on my next record. Been writing some grants with my grant writers. Shout out Thirsty Pretzels. I've been...
That's so helpful, eh? Grant writers. Is it like, would you say necessary to try and even get a grant?
So, it really depends on which one and what kind of artist you are.
Okay.
Like, I feel like that's like a pretty like layered question in the sense that for someone like me, I feel like the best people to go after are people like, you know, Ontario Arts Council, Toronto Arts Council, Canada Arts Council, and like
All of the councils.
Yeah, I feel like all of the councils. And shout out Toronto Arts Council because they've been really good to me and given me a few really awesome opportunities and some funding.
Glad to hear that.
Nice.
Glad to hear that. That's what they are there for.
And
Exactly.
what's the approach in these grants? Like, what is it for? Is it for marketing, touring? And do you say what you've done? Do you say what type of person you are? Is it a demo hit? Like, what's going on with that process?
So it's a lot about talking about just like who you are, like what your brand is, what your goal is, who you're trying to reach, who's your target market, and plans for the future. A lot of bragging, which I don't like to do.
It's not native for artists. That's what I tried to write a
Honestly.
grant. And it was like, can you accumulatively put everything together that sounds impressive? And I'm like, other than Instagram, I try to do the opposite of that to keep myself in a bit of lack to want to always reach more.
Yeah.
The artist position naturally, and people don't know this because we seem so confident, is actually like a bit of self-doubt.
Yeah.
Because you're like, you gotta keep trying to swing bigger.
Yeah.
It's like David versus Goliath, you versus the industry. But
I think
you've
we
done
have
it, though,
to look
bro.
at our successes as things that can help us continue doing what we love for a longer time.
Exactly.
So if you don't look at it like, ooh, look at what I've done, and you just look at it like, hey, these things in my past are now going to help me do more of what I love in the future, like it might feel less braggy and more just like factual.
It's true because it's funny. Back in 2012, I did I accompanied one of the Honey Jam artists. Do you know what Honey Jam is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I accompanied one of the Honey Jam artists. She doesn't do music anymore, but she's so awesome. Her name is Tisha. I don't know if you remember Tisha. She used to hang around Kitsch.
Yeah.
So I was doing that performance, and I was looking for my old Honey Jam performance. And then when I was there looking, I came across Havaya's Honey Jam performance, Jordan Alexander's Honey Jam performance.
Jordan Alexander, also from Kitsch fam.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some of Lucala's stuff also. And it's just
Wow.
kind of fun to look back and be and I actually texted Havaya and I was like, oh my God, look at what I found, and sent her the clip, and she's like, wow, we've really come so far, and we have to look
Almighty?
back. Yeah,
Yeah.
Havaya Mighty.
Yeah.
And she's like, we have to look back and see how far we've come to really see this sort of growth, and just pat ourselves on the back.
And bask in it. I think we need to just take a bath in all of the delicious growth that we've done over time.
The open mics, the shows that we've done for $20 a piece, or free, or less. Sometimes it costs us money.
Sometimes some wings.
Sometimes some nachos.
God, you don't get wings anymore.
Yeah.
The musicians out here are not getting chicken wings
had a
these
time.
days.
Fed.
We had a
Not
time.
getting fed.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Sometimes. No.
Sometimes.
But that
Nachos was the usual,
That's the
actually,
one.
I think.
Easiest and cheapest for the venue. So speaking of progress, I was just saying before we started, I'm having a memory of you and me getting together for our first session to write what would be our first song that turned out to be Rhythm of the
12
Season.
years ago.
And it was because when I talk to younger artists, our relationship is what I bring up. It is you go put in the elbow grease, you hit the open mics, you don't know who you are. You're basically emulating at first. And then you meet someone that you can collab with that introduces you to a new version or vision of yourself. And I mean, that song, if we listen to it now, might be embarrassing.
I still love it. Honestly, I'm not
you know what?
Can we add it here?
embarrassed.
I feel you, bro. I
You should.
fucking love that. We're going to put it here.
Yeah.
I'm actually so proud of it, too. I
love
bless
it.
that song.
And just the looking back on that video, we
did
literally
it.
went to the park
We did it.
and we rolled all the way down this giant hill, and there was just grass in our hair and in our mouth, and it was a really, really good memory.
It was-
I can't remember the last time I just rolled down a hill.
Yes.
You know?
I know. And that was we brought that out of each other. We did it. You start doing it. And then you start to realize I can do it. You have this beautiful, because I've always just seen you as a star. You're such a star. And then you start writing songs Right on Time and make us cry at fucking
We talk
open
about
mics
that
and
song
shit.
to this day.
You start just hitting it and killing it, but you also took another approach that I think is unmatchable if you can is to be a support to someone. Like, you're part of the original Ellevan band, you know, like you and as your resume says, you've played with you're such a thorough musician. You're a mechanic. So like, I want to hear a little bit about that, and then into your blossom of really what I have observed of owning your sex, bro, over these past half decades, and your astronaut suit and this, bro. Come on, man.
I just want to add like a little personal story about you being a support. Like, I remember it's so interesting to me when Ellevan's freestyling with his live band, and then he'll just be like getting so tired, and then he's like, Jem, you take it now.
Oh my God.
And you come in and fucking nail it too. Like, you're improvising as well. I don't think people really understand the magic that happens when a bunch of musicians are improvising together and they're all relying on one another so hard to make this beautiful piece of art.
My life raft has rested in those beautiful eyes more times than not. It's like, my reputation of this crowd is resting on you to make this song good. Please save it.
And you took it to comedy as well, which is not something that you do in your own music, as far as I've listened to. So like, you're just so versatile, and like, I just love you. Anyways.
I love you too.
Thank you.
Fun fact, actually, too. My mom called me the other day, or not called me. I was home for Thanksgiving, and she's like, Jem, I've never heard this song before. And then she pulled out her phone, and she was, I guess, scrubbing through YouTube, and she found the song that you inspired me to write.
What?
How does it go again? It's like, don't, oh my goodness. Carry the world alone on your shoulders again. Do you remember that song? It's a really, really, really long time ago.
Oh my God. I'm not.
Don't try to carry
this.
the world. I'll play, or you can even clip it in. I'll send you there's an MP3 of it somewhere that I'll send. But it was after we'd had a conversation, you know, and I was like, how are you doing? And you were just sort of like, oh, like, the world is so messed up and this and that. And I'm like, you can't, like, you know, carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, or you won't be able to continue to walk and make your own small difference.
And let me tell you, I don't know if this was, I think this was probably before I started having panic attacks that we had this conversation, and you are correct.
I think it was during, you were at Costco.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember.
Okay, so I started having panic attacks then. If you take on the weight of the world, it will not do your body good. Don't do it. It's so, and that's even like right now, that's so like prevalent in the world right now. Like, we need to take, obviously there's a balance, right? You need to involve yourself in ways that make you feel aligned with your beliefs and moral systems, but like, also you need to take care of yourself as a human.
Yeah.
Internal boundaries.
So important. And I definitely have come a long way since then. No more panic attacks, guys. Barely. No, anxiety still exists quite a bit, actually. But I know how to tone it down pretty good now.
That proves the point, though, that what a conduit Jem is for like receiving information. And there's like, you could see it so in the live, the Not for Netflix special. Like, there's a song where I'm just like so out, and you just come and like catch it and frame it, because you're so aware in the moment of like what needs to be said and like how to serve. So like, whether it's a conversation with a friend, or you're writing a song, or you're improvising some lyrics to make that specific crowd laugh, you're very aware and attentive to the moment, which I feel is like a gift, but could also be a curse. Because like, if you are sensitive as a person, emotionally, as artists almost have to be, you know, that can either drag you in either direction. So do you have internal boundaries that you kind of like, hey, I'm just not feeling right now. Like, I'm not in this feeling right now.
Yeah, I would say so, because
how did you build those?
I feel like, as someone who is sort of like a black sheep of my family, and growing up, you know, like very religious, and then coming out as queer, I think that that's like the first boundary that I had to set.
Fuck yeah.
Because you can't.
That's a first big boundary.
Yeah, that's start with the big one.
It was pretty intense because I guess at the time I had gone to university, so sort of like split off from my family and was living in Toronto and, you know, starting to meet more people that were, I guess, more, it's like I'd say, oh yeah, I'm queer, and people wouldn't like freak out, and I was like, oh, like that's, you don't think that that's a bad thing? That doesn't freak you out? And they're like, no, like that's normal. So I start to sort of like develop my chosen family, and then start to understand the concept of given family versus chosen family, and then trying to stop putting the pressure on my given family to do a job that they were never supposed to do.
Equipped.
So just sort of like separating those sort of two things and reframing my relationship with my family really, really helped me a lot. And then I was able to appreciate and see the things that they do and appreciate these people and appreciate those people and stop trying to make them the same thing.
This has been another great episode of Discipline Stoners. Goodbye. We have to process this. Holy fucking shit, bro. This is like the core of everything that we struggle with.
Yeah. That is so wonderful. Congratulations. I'm moving because there's a lot of energy inside my body that's like, Winnie, you should act like this too, and you don't. So like, you're going to have to process some of that.
Take your time, though.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Yeah.
Don't try and make these people do the natural innate job that these people. So you find your chosen family constantly being celebrated. Fucking beautiful gay man out here doing his thing. Finding this family that roots for you. How do you plan for that? Like, what are you doing mentally? I'm going to go home for Christmas now, so I'm going to fortify myself where I receive this amount of support usually, and I'm kind of used to that, but I'm going here now, so I'm going to have to tell myself, don't get used to that. Because me out here in Toronto, my bars are celebrated, you know? I'm cool because I'm a rapper. I go to my in-laws, it means zero. I have no respect. You know, I find that very difficult. Mm-hmm. How do you, what do you tell yourself in order to endure? Or were you just saying that you decide to only focus on the good?
I mean, I take the bad and the good because at the end of the day, like, we're all human. I do bad things, you know. I do good things. Like, nobody's perfect. So you just have to meet people on their level. And if you feel that boundaries are being crossed, then, you know, you say, hey, just so you know, when you say X, Y, Z, it makes me feel this way.
You say that to people?
Yeah.
You have maturity and empathy to a level that I just don't have yet.
and that's okay. Take your time.
I think it's lovely to speak that boundary out loud and in a way that feels stable. Mm-hmm. When that is not received by the other person, I think that's when I would start to crumble, because I definitely think that I have generally speaking, the capacity to go, hey, listen, this is not... But after that, I'm like, well, you didn't respond the way I wanted you to respond.
So, I have a story about that.
Please.
So, I was staying with a friend in Toronto because, and we'll get into this later, but essentially my landlord sold my house, and the person who bought it just sort of like kicked me out. So I've been sort of like hopping around from place to place. So one of the places I was staying had ensuite, well, not ensuite laundry in the lobby. Okay. So the first time that I did my laundry there, I noticed that there were things in the dryer, and I stood there because I was like, I shouldn't touch this person's laundry. But then, you know, a minute goes by, 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes goes by, 15 minutes goes by, and I'm like, well, like, I have this gig tomorrow and I need to get to sleep. Like, I have no choice. So I take the laundry and I put it on top of the machine, and I dry my stuff, I come back downstairs.
It's an understandable thing to do.
Yeah. So second time, I go downstairs, the same thing has sort of happened again. And I'm like, oh man, like, I feel like this person isn't going to come. So this time I only waited 5 minutes. And then in that 5 minutes, someone comes into the laundry room and they're like, you touched my stuff. How could you do that? I know when my cycle is over. I set a timer. And I was like, well, you see, the reason that I moved your laundry was because the last time I was waiting here like really long, and I figured that it was going to happen again because of what I experienced the last time. So that's why I moved your stuff.
Those
but
experiences.
I checked to make sure it was dry first. I'm sorry. And she's like, how could you do that? And then
With my hands, bitch.
and then she sort of like went into this closet. Like she had this key for this closet. So now I'm realizing, oh my goodness, like I think that is like the building manager's partner or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh boy. And she's like, I can't believe you would do that. That's rude. And this and she's like yelling at me. And I was like, I hope that you can see where I'm coming from.
Right.
This is why I did that. This is why I did that. And I hope that you can understand where I'm coming from. And she's like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
And I'm just sort of like
nowhere to go.
standing there, you know, like I don't know what to do.
Are you going to cry? Like what's next? You going to cry?
And then she's like, what unit are you in? And I was just sort of like, you know, and I don't like really, you know, I'm just like,
Because you're staying with a friend, right?
Yeah.
So if it was yours, you'd be like, whatever, but you're staying with the homie, so you don't want to like,
So I don't want to like
cause waves.
Get this person in trouble. And then she's like, the top of the machines aren't clean, and that's why you shouldn't put anything on top of the machine.
Maybe you should clean them.
But again, I'm just like, I'm sorry. This is where I'm coming from. I'm sorry you're upset. This is why I did it. And there's really nothing that can be done at this point, like beyond me apologizing. And that was like one of the first times before like what sort of like went down with the person that bought the house that I used to live in, that I was just sort of like, you're not going to see my point of view, so I'm just going to apologize and I'm just going to shut up and that's going to be it.
That's it.
Bro, I've landed there with like basically mostly everything that like there's a disagreement on, because it's like, I'm not going to feel bad. Like you're yelling at me like you want me to like be in turmoil about this. I'm just not. So like, sorry, but like my life goes on, so just I'm not gonna add fuel to the fire. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
That's
I
wicked. Good
think
for you.
shutting the fuck up is probably a good option. And then if you need to process, like if it was a family thing and you feel triggered or whatever, you need to process that a little bit later. Because I feel like with strangers we can kind of let it go easier than with loved ones, right?
That's true.
Even though I've definitely had strangers live in my head rent-free for weeks.
Yeah, I'm not
crazy.
Gonna act like that's never happened
Yeah,
to me
for
either,
sure.
you know?
But I think it's more of like a ping or something when it comes from a loved one and you're feeling misunderstood. I'm really that's what's going on. When we do not feel understood, there is a friction. And it's almost like, are we putting up that barrier ourselves? Can we go, I am not understood in this situation and I don't need to feel understood right now? Or do I? I don't know.
I think it's knowing that you're good. I had this chat with our friend of ours that was like trying to basically tell on somebody in the community being mean to them, to us. And I'm just like, oh, I don't know. Like, I'm not like the people police. Like, I can't like solve this for you. But and she was showing me screenshots of what he was saying. And I was just like, yo, like, it's not going to get better. Like, doting on this thing. In fact, it's your responsibility to like focus somewhere else to stop manifesting this. But I told her, I was like, it's very natural though to react because you know you're good. You didn't throw her shit on the floor. You didn't steal her shit. You didn't throw it the fuck out. So I know more people than not that would just throw it on the ground. Because, like, fuck this. Like, should have came and got your shit. That's probably not true. I have a great group of friends. But I'm just saying, there's shitty people in the world that would do that. You know you're good. You know you're good. You know that you don't dislike this person or their clothes. You just need to use the dryer right now. So when she comes to you and she's basically saying, like, you're bad, you're just like, I disagree. Like, that's not in alignment with my truth, because you know what? You're good, and you're good, and you're good, and I'm good, and they're good. They're all good. We're all love. We're all love, love. We just get in fucked up misalignments. And that misunderstanding that when he said, I think is just like you refusing to see my good. And I'm not going to live there. I'm not going to torture myself. I refuse to keep beating on myself for what I am or what somebody else thinks I am. Shit. So then, especially since those early boundaries you put up, like, I'm gonna be proud to be me, no matter what. Yeah. Like, listen, bitch, this laundry jam. Sorry, I keep saying bitch, but like, listen, individual. Fucking
listen, individual.
From bitch to individual. That's a huge jump.
Yep. But you know, I'm not gonna let this destroy me. Good for you.
I like the word bitch.
I know.
I do like that word
because I use it for men and women. And they.
I think
and
I think you can use it across the board.
Yeah, bitch is one of those ones.
It's a strong word.
And it can turn into bish and become a little bit more friendly and playful.
Yeah.
Hey, bish.
Yeah.
So how was that feeling, man? I gotta ask, because I feel like I was kind of with you in those early times of your life of moving to Toronto from Ottawa, right? How was that? How was that time?
So it was, I would say, sort of like full of ups and downs, because, you know, I didn't particularly want to go to university, but my parents were like, you're going to university. I wanted to go to Recording Arts Canada and learn how to be a recording engineer. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, a lot of the paths that I took led me to some really cool things, including you. So, like, who knows if I would have found you if I took that other path. Right. But anyway, so yeah, I went to university, and yeah, Toronto was everything that I dreamed of it being, like, at the time. There were just so many artists to meet, so many new neighborhoods to discover, so much delicious food to eat, so much opportunity. And I feel like I really, you know, cut my teeth in this city and got a lot of my experience here. But I feel like it's sort of, and not to be a downer, but just to be honest, I feel like the sort of climate has changed with the price of housing going up so high.
Or just living.
So, yeah.
Eating.
Just surviving, existing.
The food, we felt the food.
It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like $75 to go out for two people on like a quick, like you're going, you used to go to a Jamaican spot and spend $20, now it's 50.
Yeah.
Even Costco, you used to spend like $3, now you spend $5.
At least.
Sure.
And $6 if you need the staples like toilet paper and laundry detergent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky.
And that does impact how often someone feels they can go out. And
I don't.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like,
I don't go nowhere. I stay in my house. Sometimes maybe I'll go over to someone else's house or invite someone over. But yeah, it's not a part of my reality, like having that sort of like disposable income to do whatever.
Good thing we did it when
now.
in our 20s.
Oh man, I rinsed it.
Yeah.
I rinsed it.
Yeah.
And like working in the restaurant industry at the time, like back then at a restaurant, that was like so getting into that place.
The furniture?
Like at that time.
Because I'm from Vancouver. I didn't see they came here. You caught it, but then also you impacted it. Should we go there? Can we go there?
We can talk about that.
This is a real one. Oh my God. So like, we both worked with this company, Get Real.
Yeah.
They're laying down some should be pretty basic fundamental human rights stuff, but apparently it's like new and to be celebrated, which is great. Yeah. But like, they're holding down some workshops of like how to navigate this world as a company, and you brought them to tell me about that, because I want to hear you're rocking out furniture where you're always humble in a job. Then we're gonna go on to you playing like mall piano gigs. Now all of a sudden you're on stage with Julie Black. All right, cool. So let's start here.
So essentially they made a social media post that was in poor taste. So I call up the homie Chris Studer.
Shout out Chris.
Love that man so much.
Of course.
And we miss him here in Toronto.
Yeah,
he took off.
We miss him, but he has a beautiful kid now.
Started that impact,
and a
though.
wife,
You know?
and yeah, definitely left a mark on Toronto
Good
for
dude.
sure, and still continues to from there.
Respect.
But yeah, we did some sensitivity training and workshops in the restaurant, and then he took me on, and I was able to like speak to a bunch of like kids in high schools, and even like I think I went to some like elementary level schools as well, middle schools and stuff like that.
That's
and just being
awesome.
able to tell my story.
Just look
like,
at this
as
option.
A queer person.
You know, you could, and it's beautiful and good. And like, if you're feeling any weird, I might be this way. Look what you could be. That's fucking beautiful, and it's so
Necessary
impactful.
for when I went to high school.
So
for
impactful.
Sure would have made a big
Thank
difference.
you, bro. Respect. Fucking out here.
I'm out here.
So Get Real was dope to work with
Yeah.
at L Furniture Warehouse. I might add that once they were public about that, I mean, it was already going to do well. That chain's already done well, but like they blew the fuck up in Toronto after that. I seen it.
It was crazy.
Seen it.
It was a wild ride.
It was the right time to have your voice introduced to that culture.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's the way I look at things, right? Like, hey, how did we in fact, that's true too. How did we, impose ourselves? No. How do we inspire? How do we impact? How did we affect, say, the Kitsch open mic? Fucking everything, right? And it's like, boom, how did you affect that restaurant? It's all that collective energy that, like, the momentum goes into.
And the community and
Yeah.
everything, because in both of those places, we were both able to create like a lot of community.
Yeah.
Which was really nice,
Yo, we used to we haven't talked about this much on the podcast, but like the Kitsch thing was like, for all of us, about a year of going every Tuesday night. And it was a consistent...
It was like church.
It was like church, bro!
It was like church.
It was drinking church. It was smoke weed in the parking lot church. And I don't know if we ever said no to any... Like, it was just wide the fuck open. There was no biases. It was let's party. If you're down to be here, you had to travel a bit out of the city. And I think that's what made it special.
Oh, my God.
It was Dufferin and DuPont. And for anyone not from Toronto watching... The core of the city in Toronto is not what's considered like the GTA, and the GTA has like boroughs, kind of like Mississauga and Scarborough and stuff, but like in the center here is Toronto kind of proper, but Toronto is really like the core downtown, maybe up to like Bloor, like Parliament, Bloor.
I would say St. Clair.
Yeah, or actually, technically, Eglinton.
But not technically. But
Yeah.
because if
We're
you holler
not-
at me right
yeah,
now
yeah,
and you're like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
on Eglinton, I'm like,
Yeah,
hey, have fun.
No, and
Like-
it's funny because I lived on the 63 bus line for a long time, and I'd have people that lived on the lakeshore that were just sort of like, wait, the 63 doesn't stop at Ossington Station? It keeps going?
Yeah.
You live
Past
there?
that?
You live past Bloor? Ah!
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
There's-
There's some people that have never been north of Bloor.
North of Bloor.
100%.
I know.
It's insane.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like that proper, right? So, but it was not too far past that, but just enough.
Just enough that it was like, where are you going? You went under train tracks?
You had to want to go there.
Yeah.
We were like the bridge and tunnel crowd from Jersey.
Yeah.
Like we had to travel and that bit of effort, and that's why even when I throw my events on, I charge a little more for tickets because it's like that bit of investment locks people in. Because then they start saying, no, I'm going. Oh, this is what song I'm going to do. This is the order. This is what beer I'm going to get. This is who I'm going to try to talk to. It became our own little nest of like
Yeah, it was fucking
practice networking with the industry, and like Jordan Alexander, Ephraim, the guy who Fat Sound works with, even came through there.
Yeah,
Like JP Sachs. Like, fucking remember that Halloween show?
Oh, it was so good. And we had the contest.
Winnie won.
Winnie did. Were you the grapes?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I still remember. People went all out.
Bro.
I still remember what people. My cousin Tamika was Lumpy Space Princess.
Oh my God, Tamika.
And I think she came in second place.
Shout out to Tamika.
Shout out Tamika.
What a beautiful person.
Yeah. I was just remembering when you guys were talking, I can't believe how long we've actually known each other. This is wild.
Yeah.
Jem came to the first place that Ellevan and I lived in.
On Vaughan Road.
On Vaughan Road. We call it shithole.
Shithole.
Which
I liked that.
Because
didn't.
you're a real one. Yes, he does. And he joined us for our broke-ass Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
This is
that
what I'm
was
remembering.
So nice.
we had a broke ass Thanksgiving.
We served it on...
Friendsgiving.
There was nails coming out of the floor.
Okay.
Oh.
You know what I served things on?
I didn't know.
For anyone, I love you, thank you. For anyone watch my Instagram story now and are like, "Fuck this baller," I served this Friendsgiving. We had like oysters in a can, and I put a blanket over a blue storage bin that still had like storage stuff in it. And
That's perfect.
I see. This is why this is like kept me go. This level of acceptance and
We
love
didn't-
kept me going so long. Like, thank you for. It meant the world to us
Yeah.
that you were there with us.
There was a few people we let in to see that place.
It was Stacy
You were one
Shopswitz,
of them.
Javon Taylor, Epic. It was and you. It was like it was who were we working
very
with?
minimal.
And Tyson. It was like
Oh, Tyson.
if you see me on stage, that you can be in that place because it was embarrassing to us. But like you saying that is
Well,
perfect.
we had like
because
a
We all
double
lived in
mattress
shit-
on top
we
of
all
it.
lived in shitholes at the time.
That's
That's
true.
true.
That's
Listen,
so true.
it was $700 a month.
Listen.
It was
Unheard of.
Yeah.
Unheard of now.
And I would
Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I would give the building manager like the cash every first or whatever. And we ended up getting an eviction notice for there because it turns out he wasn't giving it to the landlord. He was fucking using it and then giving it to him on the 9th
Well,
or
yeah,
10th.
he gave it to him, but just like gave
2
it
weeks
to him
later.
late,
And then
and we found out after like 3 months, but no one contacted us beforehand.
The owner of the building was like, "You keep paying your rent rate or your rent late," and we're like,
What?
"No, we've given it to the guy on the 1st of every month." Talk about like having to set those internal boundaries about not feeling like a dirtbag. Someone giving you an actual eviction notice.
But then we used it and we were like,
Get
fuck
the
this
fuck
guy.
out of here. I'm keeping the rent for this month because you know you get first and last. Like we didn't do anything. Like I'm like, fuck you then. Fine. Like you want to talk to me like this, like without even like calling me or coming to see me. All right, cool. And then we went to that nice place in 703 where we started tracking shit.
That place changed our lives.
So that must have been right around the time that we got Ralph. Can we talk about you and dogs? Because you did not appreciate dogs.
I was so scared of dogs.
But
You
then-
had a
Because
bad
I-
experience.
I had so many bad experiences. There were like, I can remember more often than not, like running from like dogs in like my neighborhood.
That's
and
so
like
fucked
he just
yeah.
got scared to start dipping.
Yeah, no, like I was always running away from something when I was growing up.
But you did get bit once.
I feel
right?
you, bro.
Did get
Yeah.
bitten.
I feel you.
I did get bitten, and in the United States.
Oh.
Yeah. So luckily, my auntie and uncle are doctors, and we were staying with them, so they were able to just sort of loophole us through the hospital and all of that sort of stuff.
Oh,
we didn't have
nice.
to like pay a crap ton of money because I had to take antibiotics for a while
Yeah.
because
Oh,
it was
shit.
kind of a deep bite.
Oh, shit. Where?
I don't remember now. It was so long ago.
Was it your hand?
Yeah, it was somewhere on my. Was it?
But it was your upper body. It wasn't a leg.
It was like somewhere around my hands. I
Yeah.
can't really remember because I was so.
I didn't even
so
know.
young.
Fuck. So
I
like,
was like
But
9.
that probably
Impacted you.
9, that definitely impacted you then. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's you're not fucking with dogs after that
Yeah.
experience.
do you remember
But-
the situation?
So then I'm trying to remember if you were in the car and you came to pick me up and like Ralphie was like in the car and I was like, I'm gonna be in the car with no dog. You know?
Yeah.
And Ellevan's just sort of like, no, but like this is Ralphie.
This-
And I went and I sat in the seat and Ralphie I think just climbed into my lap and we took a few photos and that was like one of the best days ever. And I just since then my relationship with dogs has completely changed.
Sam, Ralphie's here to do good work on this earth. I'm so grateful for that.
That's such a great tattoo.
Thank you.
How's he doing?
He's a good boy.
He's a legend. Thank you
He's
for
so
giving him a
good.
chance. He really appreciates that.
Oh, he's the best.
He's done that for others since. And I feel
And
like
you got him still when he was pretty little too.
Oh, he
you
was
know?
so.
He was
like
little.
he looked like a stuffed dog. Like he didn't even like look real. He was like so perfect.
Yeah.
It's like what are you?
what is like a little squirrel thing?
Yeah, little teddy bear.
So cute.
I remember I'm remembering what we were doing that day. I had the Kia, I had Winnie's car, and
the blue one.
and I was
R.I.P. Lillian.
Lillian?
Miss you.
That's like one of my closest friends' names.
Such a
Lillian.
good name.
Yeah.
we love that. And I think I was picking up everyone to go to a rehearsal. I think we had that opera house show. Remember that?
Oh my God.
The first opera house show that was basically almost empty.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And we were gonna go rehearse for that at the Meat Locker.
Oh, the meat locker. Oh my God. Oh, funny story about the meat
We had
locker.
so many
So
times.
my mom happened to be in town, and I think we were already rehearsing for something or another. So I just sort of gave her the address.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I remember one time you were rehearsing at this place. It was scary. There was like cars. There were like abandoned cars, and it was through this alleyway, and it was weird.
Dude.
But then I walked in, and it was quite nice, or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
She remembers the meat locker.
Yeah.
She's like, what is this place? But oh man,
It was
that
so
was the
far
best
away.
Place.
Whenever
Yeah,
I went in there too, I was like,
Leaside.
what the fuck?
When we would
Leaside,
invite
baby.
artists who were females and they were coming there,
Yeah.
I would just give them a set. I'd be like, yo,
Listen.
if you ever
promise.
watched a movie where somebody invited you in to kill you, this would be the alley. So just know that.
But you won't be.
We're not going to kill you. We got pizza on the way. We got weed and beers. I hope to see you soon.
You know what? That's a very convincing way to kill someone.
And we only killed a couple.
Let me tell you straight up, this looks like you're going to get killed, but you're not, all right? Come get some beer and pizza.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so, we just went back to Nostalgia Town. I'd like to know, because in your latest work that I've seen from you, it really feels like you've sort of developed a persona on stage, or I don't know if persona is the right word, so please, but I wonder how that looked in the process of that. What was the molding of the gem that we see today?
So I would say it all started with a audiobook that I listened to. It was called the 4D Musician or the 4D Songwriter. Can't remember which one it is, if it's musician or songwriter. And in this audiobook, it was talking about creating a character that people can fall in love with. So that was shortly after I had gotten back from the UK. The pandemic had just started, and it was crazy because I think it was February that I went to the UK to record with my friend, and that was where we wrote Space and Time. And then just as I was flying back, like everything just sort of like shut down, like maybe 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So now I created this sort of like persona, AFRONAUT, and that's sort of how the concept was built. You know, the space explorer, and you know, the story of falling in love with the alien, and the beginning and the middle and the end, and the concept album. And then that's how I sort of got into the spacesuit thing. And then I was like, well, I think my brand is going to be silver now. So when I'm on stage, I
Cool.
only wear silver or
And it
sparkles
looks so
and stuff like that.
God, you look good up there.
Thank you. So I just feel like I just sort of like adopted this outer space sort of theme. But then also I have to throw it back to the first band that I was in, who I actually have rehearsal with today.
What?
Yeah, we're doing like a few songs. Their release party is tomorrow at the OBGMs at the Velvet Underground. So Denzel, the lead singer of the OBGMs, I feel like I learned a lot from him because he was all about like being like, you know, a musician, but also like an MC. and getting people involved and getting them to repeat sort of different things. So I feel like I took that and sort of like made it my own. So, you know, I have this little bit that I do, like whenever I do this one disco song. So I'll be like, when I say disco, you say party, disco, party. When I say thick, you say body, you know, and like, woo. And there ain't no party like so if I'm performing at the Rivoli, I'll be like, there ain't no party like a Rivoli party, you know, and I just like slide in like little words there and try to customize it to the audience.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's an amalgamation of so many, you know, different people that, you know, inspired and sort of like shaped me that I got to
Over
sort
the
of
course of time.
where I am, you know, and sometimes I'll watch, you know, like James Brown performance or like, you know, those sorts of things, like those sort of like, I guess we could call them musical ancestors. And it's important to like tap into what like made their performances great and incorporate them into your performances to give audiences sort of the same feeling.
Cool.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was JP who we had on just a couple of weeks ago that was like, we're all stealing from each other now. It's not that. Like, we all take bits of everything that we resonate with, and then we fucking do our, we get inspired by that.
Performance salad.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what is it? Good artists borrow, and then great artists steal or something?
That's funny.
Something like that.
So now, do you feel like this is who you're moving forward with? Has that impacted your sound?
Yeah, I would say so, because, you know, it's more about like looking back and being inspired by older things. You know, like I feel like my most recent single, GYST, or Get Your Shit Together, was like really inspired by, and it's so funny. Okay, so there's this song called Don't Call Me Baby by Madison Avenue. I don't know if you remember this song. It's like, don't call me baby, doom doom ba-doom doom boom boom doom boom ba-doom boom boom ba-doom boom. Like, it has this awesome bass line.
But then you look going with that.
Back. Okay, I could. Boom boom ba-doom boom boom ba-doom boom boom ba-doom boom ba-doom boom boom ba-doom boom ba-doom boom boom ba-doom boom
run it back.
boom boom ba-doom boom 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 ba-doom.
You're the best.
But you're the best. So, and you're the best.
And we're the best.
We're the best.
We're all the best together.
We're the best music. Oh, God.
Anyway.
So, that song actually comes from a McFadden and Whitehead song called Ain't No Stopping Us Now, which I didn't realize. Do you know the song? Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has that same doom doom ba doom doom boom 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 boom.
So it's a sample.
So it's a sample. So all of these songs that I end up being inspired by came from something like so much earlier, and that's why I think it's really important for people to go as far backwards as they can. What was this sampled from? Who is this person? What was their story? When you're drinking it like right from the tap, that's when you can be really inspired.
That's
you know?
right.
Not the watered down version. Like, no shade to sampling, but
no.
Sort of like slight shade.
Well, I was just at Nuit Blanche with Humble, you know, Humble the poet, and he's so profound with some gems that he drops.
Yeah.
And we're all like, you know, just looking at the art, and he makes this great metaphor about that concept. He's like, art? And then there was someone taking pictures of that art, like a picture of it to like put on their Instagram. He's like, what did he say? He said like heroin, fentanyl, or something like that's fentanyl. Like that, like fuck, I'm fucking up his quote, but like he said like it dilutes itself, and the compounding of the usage of it makes it synthetic and cheap.
It's the same like when you save a picture over and over again and it starts to get blurry.
Yeah. So to your point about like the tap of like, maybe he didn't say heroin, it's like, but that art and like that's the fentanyl, like that's the, to give you a similar synthetic sensation, but it's never from the tap, as you say. And you're right. Caring about the why is the shit. The blues didn't just fucking happened because they thought, oh, it sounds good to play these keys, right? Like George Carlin says, you got to know why those keys are being played. It hurts. Being a human hurts. And when we move this vibration or say certain phrases, we feel a little bit closer to that alignment of being understood, of like moving the energy. Are you aware of that when you're writing songs or when you're lifting inspiration or whatever, but when you decide to focus on your next project, do you carry that awareness with you that this is kind of like a medicinal tool?
Oh, so much.
Sick.
So much. Because a lot of my, all of my stuff is always about personal experiences.
It's cathartic.
And yeah, it's sort of like, you know, a version of therapy. Like, I love my therapist. And
Yeah, congrats
you know,
on that, eh? Because like everyone trying to find the right therapist is like,
yeah, it's hard. So yeah, I love my therapist, but also, you know, I love music because, you know, it was my first therapist, you know? I've been writing down how I felt since, you know, I was like really young. Like there's this, and I haven't seen it in a while, but it floated around my house for a while. There's this journal. My parents bought me like a little journal. I must have been about like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old. It was like remember the animated Tarzan movie?
Yes.
Yeah, so they bought, Tarzan is problematic, but, you know, at the time, at the time, in the 90s,
it's all we had, bro.
goes.
It's all we had.
In the 90s,
It was
anything
not.
goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
bought me this journal, and I would, like, write down, like, music lyrics and ideas and poetry and, like,
Wow,
how
so
I felt
young.
about different things, you know?
Yeah.
I'd always done that. I remember the first song that I wrote when I think I was 4. I fell off my bicycle. And I still
It's always about
have
some
the
shit that
scar
hurts
somewhere.
Oh
there
my
it is.
gosh.
Yeah, I still have the scar. Like it's healed, but
you. Oh my gosh. I love that.
There's
and
a
I
big
wrote-
one.
That's your
It was
mark.
bad.
That's your mark.
Literally. So the first song I wrote, and you know, I cried. I was like, "Ah," and I went to the piano and I wrote a song called "When You Are a Boo Boo." A little boo boo, and it just had like minor chords, and it was just me playing an A minor chord over and over again. But like that was like the first song I ever wrote.
Can you imagine a little cute gem
I
just
know,
going
I
like,
wish we had video of
when
that.
I made a boo boo?
There is video, but I can't find
We
it.
have
We're
to
looking.
find
We
it.
gotta find it.
Yeah.
That's so,
Jim's dad.
We
We'll
must.
hit you up.
We'll go. Yeah, we'll create a search party. Doesn't matter how many. We'll get all the people.
I love how you said I just went to the piano. It's almost like you further my assumption about reincarnation because it's like you just are so natural on the keys. It's like throughout lifetimes I have this hunch that you can like maintain energetic connections with certain forms of expression. And it's like just the way you just said it, like I went to the piano. You were 4, bro. People wasn't even going to the toilet yet. Like I just went to the piano like it's natural now. And like that's sick. So yeah, you've been in it. You've been putting therapeutic thoughts to melody in order to process it almost your whole life.
I'm just realizing that people who sort of choose the artistic endeavor
We're always
to
hurt.
explore that.
Always
We're
hurt.
actually really lucky in a way that we had some type of outlet because when we were growing up still, there wasn't the language that we're using, triggering language,
Yeah.
boundaries, all of that. That's all new age language that's really helped us communicate
Millennials.
in a way that inspires growth. But we didn't have that at that time. Like no child was going to therapy, like very minimal. And if they were, it was like, damn, that child must be a psychopath.
There
You
was
know,
a
like
lot
there
of
was
judgment.
stigma.
It was shame around it.
Yeah.
So much of that, and it's interesting. Like when I was growing up, you know, my mom, she had a lot of mental health issues, but she was the person that was like talking about it at that time.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
like while she was going through it and
Wow.
being like, yeah, no, this is a normal thing that happens to people, and you know. People would just be like, oh, she needs Jesus or whatever, and all of that stuff, because, you know, we grew up in the church and things. But now, you know, she is doing peer support for people of color at, so there's like it's called the Royal Ottawa Hospital in Ottawa. So it's the Toronto, or the Ottawa equivalent of CAMH. So like that's like the work that she's like moved into now. And it's helped her so much with her own mental health. And I feel like that inspired me to take mine a bit more seriously and like seek out therapy and all of those sorts of things, you know.
Oh, shout out,
important.
Mom.
Yeah, shout out, Mom.
And that's huge, having that experience of creating those boundaries at that time, telling people, nah, it's just part of, like, this is very normal, actually. A lot of people go through it, just no one's talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, she must have had a lot of experience then dealing with sort of like naysayers or whatever that she can now pass down, you know, how to help handle those situations. Because of course it's still stigmatized now. It's gone a little bit the other direction where everyone isn't taking it seriously because everyone has an ailment, you know? So it's like, oh, of course you have ADHD. You don't need to go figure that out for yourself. Like everyone's on the spectrum or whatever. So we have taken it to another place of stigma, I feel, a little bit right now, but it'll balance itself out. It's better to have the language and you know, start working it out than not.
I think that it is, and it's so funny because like as I've gone through life, the friends that I've kept like the closest to me, like almost all have ADHD, and they're like, Jam, like you should probably just at least like do a test, because there are some
you don't need a test, you
do
know.
that
You know, you don't need a
There
test,
are
you
a
know.
few things.
there are a few things, and they're like, they outline it. They're like, so example A.
Do I need to
example B.
take a test for are you a dope rapper? No. We assume. You just are. Just add the acronym to your list of acronyms.
Do you think that if you were diagnosed with something that it would help you better understand yourself?
I think that it would, and I think that being medicated could really help, because essentially I was talking to someone about this that is a therapist, and they were just like, hey, like if you want you can like try this. Like I think they give me like just like 1 or 2 short acting pills, and I tried it, and oh my goodness, the crippling, because I have like what I call like, I guess I have like a sort of paralysis where it's like if I have 5 things to do, I'll start doing the first thing, I'll start doing the second thing, I'll start doing the third thing, and I'm doing like 4 things at once, and then I get overwhelmed, and then I stop, and then I haven't really accomplished anything. And
Well, you've accomplished a little bit of 5 things.
Of each.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit
So
of
I
each.
wouldn't say you
Okay.
haven't really accomplished nothing, but yes.
So now it's to the point where I actually have to like talk myself through it, and I think like some people have like watched it happen, and I think it's kind of funny to watch when I'm trying to like force myself to like sit at a desk and get a task done, and I'm like, start doing this. Oh wait, but I could. Oh no.
Good.
Finish this one.
Good.
And then once you finish that, then you can start that.
You're
and I have to like
weightlifting.
literally talk
Yes.
myself
Literally,
through
bro.
it.
I do it every day sometimes
And,
still.
you know,
do this thing first. Do this
and
thing.
grab my knees a little bit, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I can do it. And then if I have to get up and like take a walk and then come back, or
Yep.
like play some like Overcooked and then come back,
Yep.
or like scroll on Instagram for a minute, like set a timer,
Give a
timer goes
dopamine
off,
hit.
go back, you know.
So that's called
I
regulating.
love the timer tool.
That's regulating, and the more we've uncovered the fact that I'm more on the TISM scale than we realized, like it's about self-regulation, and that's exactly what it is. Soothe. When you get to a place where you feel like out of alignment, just soothe yourself. I don't care if you have to go to the bathroom privately and just like sit in the stall for a minute. She thought I was gonna make
You were
a
gonna say
masturbation
knock one
joke.
out.
Knock one out. I was. My mind was originally going there, but then I'm like, let's not make a joke out of everything.
That's so funny. I'm so the bathroom stall person at a party.
Yeah, go just sit there for a minute.
Like,
Go
sit
meditate.
in the bathroom for like a little longer than I have to.
7 minutes.
And then go back and sort of like socialize again.
Face the energy that's in the room. And especially, it's interesting for artists. I mean, we're in a kind of a privileged position with a lot of busy environments we go into. As you said, I don't go out that much either. Usually when I'm out at a venue, I'm walking through the crowd to the green room or coming through the back of the building to the nice little private place. For sure, the band is around or other acts are around, but like I can meditate if I want to. But if you're on the floor in the event, like I very much react like a tiger sometimes too. And actually, shout out you. I need to give you your flowers publicly too. I've seen like Woody, you endure my neurodiversity in groups of people as well. So thank you for your patience with me over the years. Your understanding of like
you've watched a lot of.
You've seen me say things to people that maybe didn't need to be said, you know. And you've had moments of like, it's fine, just please, just you know. And yeah, that has been. You know, it's a little bit embarrassing, but then you forgive yourself because you're like, you know, fuck it. Maybe I'm nuts. Yes. So what? So like I'm gonna have to accept my good and my bad. But that's really cool that you've had the ability to hold space for others. So I appreciate you for that. But also that you can self-regulate now. That's huge.
I try.
It
doesn't always work.
It's
Sometimes I have to give up.
Yeah.
You know, for a while and like walk away. But
from the
that's
task.
Okay. Yeah, from the task. But that's okay. That's okay. I'll go do something else that I'm actually excited about.
Inspired.
You know? I'll go write some music.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. So much of this shit is labels like we should be more disciplined. But you know what? Maybe life is just like an open, natural flow that you can honestly do whatever the fuck you want. Maybe you want to go have a fucking peanut butter jelly sandwich and write a song. Exactly.
We listen to a channeler called Bashar, and he often talks about if you're not getting it done in enthusiasm, it doesn't need to get done yet. Things will constantly get done as you're like ready and willing. You know, a willing participant in it. When you can't. The forcing is wasting time. Yeah. You don't need to force. This is something that I'm actively trying to, because you're like, oh, well, no, I got to do it because society tells me that if I don't do it, that like, I don't know, I won't fit in or something, whatever. Yeah. And you don't need to. And the more that you prove to yourself by following your enthusiasm of going to take a break, writing a song or whatever feels good in that moment, you'll start to see the patterning of like, oh yeah, I actually didn't need to get this task done today. And then all of a sudden like, oh, I've been I'm a huge lister because I think same. That's probably, you know, I think a lot of people, we just forget. There's a lot going on. We're taking a lot in. It's easy to forget. So I'm a huge lister, and as of recently, I've been writing the list, and then like a few days will go by, and I'll go back to the list. It won't be like I have to get this all done right now. I'll go back to the list and see like, oh, what have I checked off of this list? Yeah. I'm so shocked at how much I'm checking off.
Yeah, and that's the most sad, and this is why I use the tasks, Google Tasks.
Nice.
And the best part of it is scrolling down to the bottom and seeing everything that's checked off. And you're like,
nice.
Maybe I'm not like
a loser.
Maybe I do actually like get
that's
some
what I say to myself.
Sort of like done, but it's just so hard to see it that way with the sort of expectations that the world puts on creatives, because it's like you have to survive, you have to create art, you have to market it yourself, you have to secure funding to market it, you have to do social media,
stay networking,
you have to go out and drink the Kool-Aid all the time to meet new people that are going to like level up your career. So your social battery has to be full. Are you exercising? Are you eating well?
Do you drink water? Do you get enough sleep?
Oh my!
Do you have an updated outfit for the event on Friday?
Oh, that's the worst part.
Are you volunteering somewhere because you need to be giving?
Yep.
How the fuck are we gonna dress? Winnie clocked this now. She's out here doing the stand-up grind.
Yeah.
And like last night she looked amazing. And it's
Thank
like,
you.
cause and she's like rocking the full Adidas suit.
Oh, I love it.
Head to toe.
I'm like,
blue leather.
give me attention. Look at me.
But at the end of the day, that's what the fuck it is. It's the commodity is attention now.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I wore this. So yesterday I wore this suit. It has an inner lining, so it's really warm. It's leather.
It's a perfect cold fall
bright
outfit.
blue. And I wore a jacket underneath the jacket. So when I was biking around the city, I was just this bright blue leather magnificent being. And so many people looked so many people were just like, they were like, what? Like, and I was just looking at them, and I was like, thank you for looking at me. Like, that was the exchange. I was like, thank you. I tried really hard. Thank you. I, paid for this or whatever. Just like, I was
did,
just
though.
taking it.
No, it's good. I have a matching one. I was just walking around New York with it, and the way Humble explained it was main character energy. This outfit is main character energy. So every time you go on stage, you have an event, you do something, and you have been nailing it.
I'm trying.
With your outfits, with the main character energy.
I'd also love to talk about how upholding main character energy is exhausting.
No. You got to actually feel it. Don't pretend.
I know.
Don't pretend.
But sometimes if I have my period on the night that I'm nominated for a daytime Emmy award, and I feel bloated.
Well, that's a 1 in a million situation.
No, but I'm saying, life happens, right? Life happens, and there are moments where you got to step into that leading lady energy when you don't feel like it.
Yep.
And so, you're right about that social battery. I think we're understanding more and more why people have assistants, why they get the private jets,
I
why
love
they
an ivory tower.
don't see a bunch of people on the day that they're performing because they need to conserve.
I have expense.
Oh, sorry.
No,
you're the guest.
I have a story about that, actually. So, on the night that I did the closing of Casa Loma
I was going to say...
with Julie Black, that was 3 nights before I got kicked out of my house.
And
I was sleeping on a blow-up mattress. Almost all of my belongings were in Port Colborne, Ontario. Shout out Brooklyn Doran for storing
Brooklyn Doran!
all of my stuff.
What up, yo?
And Faith, love you both. So all of my stuff, I don't have half my stuff.
Oh,
I've thrown out 12, or not thrown out, I've donated 12 bags of clothes.
Nice.
I have got, my apartment is empty and I'm sleeping on a blow-up mattress on the floor.
And everyone on Instagram is jealous of you.
Yeah,
because you're on
like,
stage.
You're doing so great. And literally, honestly, that was a really hard day for me. I feel like I went home and just honestly cried myself to sleep because I knew that it was in my last days of a place that I'd lived in for almost 12 years.
Yeah. That untethering of that is really, it's like a breakup.
Remember
or something.
703?
Yes.
You just went through, imagine if we had 8 more years at 703. That was the next nice place we went to.
Yeah.
And when our landlord kicked us out of that, we cried.
We were heartbroken.
Yeah.
We sat on our new floor in our space that we love today, and we were just like, it'll never be the same.
But it's because
But it's
the next
better.
place, I'm literally speaking from experience, the next place, what's going to happen there is going to be holy fuck. Yep. And it's always that, hopefully.
You need to be evicted into change sometimes.
Yeah.
You do.
It's really true.
A lot of us, we don't like it. Man, I love my comfort zone so much. I think I want to live there, but I imagine at some point, if I was just comfortable all the time, I would just start dying, I think.
Or else,
and
what do you
I made jokes about that. I was like, oh yeah, you'll find my decrepit body at 90-something, die at, 1057 Davenport Road, but, that's not my reality anymore. But, this sort of change has really helped me to, be more vulnerable and sort of lean on my community a little bit. I just need to right now publicly shout out, and you included, my community, because the way that people showed up for me during that time, I could burst into tears. I felt so held through everything. I feel like there were just a bunch of hands holding my hand through the transition, and I was able to have
That's a result
space.
of you showing up for people time and time again.
Yeah.
Also, though, that, right? That's a reflection of how much you've given to your community.
Love you, thank you. And it's so important for us to be a part of your journey because of how you've impacted us. Exactly, right? And just we did our little meditation in the garden. It's wherever you were.
I forgot it. Didn't you just watch me cry? Didn't I start crying?
Yeah, we cried together, bro.
I needed that so so bad.
Because it's like, I know you got like lots of the homies, but who's the hippie though, for real? Who's the so it's like, and also like, you know, you and I had some nice workouts back there, you know, and so it's like my feeling of that, and just like, you know, it was mutually beautiful. So, and as much as it was like, oh, you know, sorry that you're uncomfortable right now, but a little bit with the eagle, because it's always easier to see it when you're not in the cockpit. In an eagle eye view, I'm almost like, congratulations, like whatever's about to happen next is going to be fun, you know?
It's true.
So it was, you know, when you're in, I feel you need that community support around when you're just like in the cockpit and it seems like everything is collapsing, but
I think also
There's
artists
always more.
too have a bit of like artist guilt, like when we do, like when we're doing the thing that we love and we're getting paid for it. It's like we can't complain and we can't ask anybody for anything because we chose to do what we love for a living.
It's our fault for not conforming and working the 9-to-5 sort of thing.
That part.
You know, I
Yeah.
feel that.
So I think
hard.
we all have a little bit of a complex when it comes to asking for help. And the fact that you even could, like, bravo to you, the therapy is working.
yes.
We're healing ourselves slowly over the course of our lives.
Yeah, definitely. It's so important
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah. I'm going back to when family pisses you off or whatever, like, I know that my mom didn't get this opportunity. I know that she didn't get the opportunity to like be so self-introspective that she could see where her pain bodies are and then choose to actively minimize them through the love of self and others.
Oh my God, that's facts.
So like that's where I think I can get on like compassion where I'm like, oh, we don't necessarily see eye to eye on this, but like you never got the opportunity to.
Yeah, and what makes it the most sad is it's like there are certain family members that I have that it's just sort of like, it just sort of like festers and like creates bitterness.
Yeah.
You know?
That's too bad.
And we don't want
That
to be
shit does
bitter.
not feel good
Doesn't
in your
help.
body.
What excites you right now? When,
Yeah.
when you think about it, like I feel like myself, no matter what's happening in the world, you know, that maybe you're empathetic about or whatever's happening in your world that you might be uncomfortable with or whatever, you can always go back to what I just call God, the universe, which is like through music. When I sit down in front of Logic or I play a beat and I write, it's like I go somewhere else. Is that your happy space? Is that
So,
your
I have a
peace?
few.
Okay.
So yeah, the first one is definitely music and performing, writing, co-writing sessions. But another one is swimming. Like that's a really, really big one for me because it's just like you can't really hear anything. I am very purposeful in like not buying like one of those watches that count your laps. So when I'm swimming, all that's in my head is lap 1, lap 1, lap 1, lap 1, lap 2, lap 2, lap 2, lap 2, lap 3, lap 3. So it's just numbers. Like that's it, you know?
Love that.
So
What a beautiful way to recharge your brain.
Yes.
it's awesome. I love that. I also love riding my bicycle.
I love riding my bicycle.
So I ride my bike a lot in the summer. And sometimes, I remember this one time, it was crazy how this sort of happened. So I thought it was the end of like all the good weather. I think this was like end of September or maybe even beginning of October,
This
something
year?
like that. Yeah.
Oh
So I
my
thought it was
God.
the end of good weather. And then one day I woke up and it was just beautiful outside.
Hot.
And it was hot. So I got on my bike and I started riding and I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll just ride along the Lakeshore Trail, la la la, mind my business. And then before I knew it, I was on the island.
Let's go.
And,
Hanlan's?
Yeah, I went to Hanlan's.
Hello.
And then I walked all the way to the end, like where the planes land at the airport.
Whoa.
Because nobody like really goes to that side at all.
Right.
I think there was like literally like 1 or 2 people I could see, and there were little specks.
Yeah.
And then I just took off all my clothes and I cold plunged into because the water was actually kind of like cold
'Cause it was already
it was
fall.
October.
I
Yeah.
think we were at
yeah,
the
I
beach
love
that day,
that.
I feel.
Really?
Like, that hot
Yeah.
day in
Yeah.
October, we were like, I cannot believe
We
we
go
are
to
getting a
Hanlan's, too.
last beach day
We
right
went
now.
straight over to Hanlan's.
And it was hot.
It was so nice. So I
Like,
just kept
hot enough to go in the water.
Yeah. So I just kept going in and out and in and out and
So
in and
healthy.
out and in and out and in and out.
So good
And then
for
I
your
put
body.
back on my clothes and I sort of like laid, and then I got too hot, and then I went in one last time, and then I walked back to my bike, and then I completed my bike ride. I think I biked like all the way, not to Cherry Beach, but like the sugar factory, and then like turned around like where that street intersects with Lakeshore, and it was like,
Yeah.
okay, going back. But yeah, just that nice combination that day was great.
That sounds
I also love to
divine.
drive. That is actually a really big happy place for me.
Driving?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just
I love
cruising
it.
and music and just...
I love it.
It's the motion or something. It makes you feel like you're doing something. I don't know.
Yeah. So I like doing that. What else is another happy? Video games.
What are you playing?
So I pretty much just play Mario Kart and
You're so cool.
Super Smash Brothers and Overcooked. Those
Did
are my
you-
3 games. And Katamari. I love Katamari.
Oh,
Do you know it?
No.
Okay, so like you're like this little guy that's like this tall. You're like a prince, and your dad is like the king of the world or whatever. And he like breaks the world, and all the planets are like missing and broken. And it's like, okay, little prince, you have to make planets for me. So you're like this little guy, and you have this little sticky ball, and you're pushing the ball. And then first, like maybe you can only pick up like a little crumb of weed, but your ball slowly gets bigger. And then, oh, I can pick this up now. Wait, it's big enough for me to pick up the lighter. Then you get off the desk and you maybe pick up like a fork over there. And then your ball keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and you build planets.
Holy fuck, it's like the expansion of the universe in a game.
It's so much fun. I
Really?
highly because
Are you
it's
just rolling the
hilarious.
whole time?
You're just pushing this ball.
Sounds
And-
like me. I'm just rolling the whole time.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
But and then the best part is the music, the soundtrack. Like it's
Okay.
all in Japanese.
Oh my god, I love it.
Oh,
Do you
the
know what I
music is
saw
So good.
the
love
other day
that.
that happened in Toronto? It was an event, and I don't know if it happens usually because I'm not a gamer,
Mm-hmm.
but there was a game night, but it was there was a live band tracking the game, and it was Mario Kart. So they
Oh,
had the
okay.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
and then they went into the actual song, and it was a live band, and I was like, "This is blowing my mind."
That was on the street?
no, it was
in a venue. Was that
venue
Toronto?
somewhere. I think so.
Oh, I bet we know
That's
who
very
did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it was super
trying to find
cool.
that.
I love
Okay,
that.
so I want to know how your album is going, when we can expect it, what you're hoping from, what you're getting from it.
Okay. So the album, I'm not sure.
Love that.
It's gonna happen when it happens, but I mean, essentially all the demos are completed. Like I just have to like actually finalize the production and like cut like the main and backing vocals and stuff. But I'm waiting to see about this funding and stuff like that, because I don't want to put out another album that I funded myself, like I did AFRONAUT.
Yeah.
Like I did do a GoFundMe that did like pretty decent, and like I got like a small grant from Toronto Arts Council, but like putting out an album myself made me realize how much cost is actually involved, and to the scale that I want to do this next record, like I'm just gonna wait until someone is like, well, not
Nice.
even wait. At a certain point, maybe I'll just be like, okay, I'm gonna do another GoFundMe or something.
Yeah.
But like the funding has to be there because the plans are too big for this one.
Good.
Like
Nice.
I'm starting to write songs where ideas like sort of like materialize in my head for like music videos and stuff. I actually recently got the RBC Prism Prize MVP grant. So I shot a music video for Get Your Shit Together.
Nice.
Shout out Rebecca Ortiz and Tyler Clementi.
Cool.
That's the director and the producer of the video. And honestly, now that I have seen like what a music video can look like I don't want to do it any
Is
other
this
way.
out? Is this video out?
It's not out, but
Oh my
I can show you the
goodness.
second cut when
Nice.
we're done filming this.
Yay!
And I'm so happy with it, like beyond happy. It's just, it reflects my music going forward needs to reflect my personality and what I stand for
Bro.
through everything that I do going forward.
I'm at
or
the
I
same.
don't want to do it.
I'm fucking facts.
I don't want to do it because I know what
Facts.
my brand is now.
Yes.
I know what I want.
You know who you are.
I know
You
who
know
I
your
am.
message. You know your impact. You know your community. You're just gonna keep growing it.
Yeah, and
yes.
it's like I'm starting to play a little more with like, you know, like gender and like makeup and different
Fuck
things
yeah.
like that, which is like really exciting and territory that I haven't quite tread into.
Alice
at least
Cooper,
not on camera.
Marilyn Manson,
So,
like so many big impactful artists like fuck with that and use that. Prince.
and it's
I mean,
funny
come
that
on.
you mentioned Prince because like
I usually do.
when I played in the OBGMs, that was like one of Denzel's favorite inspirations.
He's
right?
so dope.
He loves Prince. Growing up, I didn't listen to much. Like I know my parents said, I talked to them like, why didn't we listen to Prince growing up? And they're like, oh, we like Prince, but like that wasn't like the vinyls and things like
It was
that they
sex.
had.
It was
Yeah,
sex. Prince
that's-
music is about
that's-
sex.
That's what it.
Yeah,
that's what it
I
was.
probably won't play Prince in front of my kid either, but I'll
Yeah,
play
yeah.
Prince.
That's probably you're right.
Yeah.
So
And he's a little guy,
yeah.
light skinned, gangster as fucking person.
So
Lays it
and
down publicly.
wise.
I only remember
Yeah.
him from
So
MTV
wise.
being like, yeah, own your mastering. Tell these labels to fuck off, and just like be who you want to be. That's who I knew of Prince first.
Yeah.
Then I saw the dude rip crazy guitar. Eric Clapton brought him out, and the dude didn't sing a word, but destroyed every musician who ever lived with that fucking fling it around him and like kill his shit. And then dipped. Didn't sing, nothing, just fucking dipped. Didn't stay on stage, dipped like a badass.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just gushing about Prince
it's
now.
okay. You're allowed to gush about
That
Prince.
was passionate.
Yeah.
And then you hear his shit that's like, don't have to fit.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so you're purposely choosing a feminine route, even though you're a little gangster. So I'm just back to your point of there's power in playing with those perceptional tools.
It's true, and it's funny. I actually, one of my friends, Daniel Adams, who co-produced "Tell Me You Love Me," a song that I have with my friend Wild Black.
I love it.
He was in Toronto, so like we did a session, and I did my first song that was like sung like sort of all in falsetto, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, this has kind of a Prince vibe," and I was just sort of like, you know, and honestly, I'm a bit nervous about it because you know me, like I don't like really like sing about like being sexual or like having like sexual feelings like really, but I feel like, you know, it's all a part of the human experience.
expression.
So it's just sort of has to like, you know, be done in my way.
Yes.
I just have to
Yes.
figure out how to do it in my way.
You always come
and
with
I'll
the
be
bars.
fine.
You will always find the bars. How to do it.
And that's just experimentation. Like you got to figure out what your way is. This type of expression, like, and that's sometimes you got to do something. You got to start somewhere where someone else like has already started, and then you're like, oh, maybe I'll pick and choose a few things from this, and then I'll attempt something else over here, and then
Directly talking about me and Eminem. But also, there's this interesting thing. Sex is unique. Me and Winnie tried to talk about sex on the podcast first alone, and we were like, ooh. Like, even just like the idea of, it's kind of like revealing who you are below the waist, metaphorically and literally. But that can be, what if I'm judged? What if I'm too harsh? What if I'm too grungy for some? You know, like there's all sorts of, I think you just got to dive into really who the fuck you are and be that. If you're hypersexual in some parts, be that for like that 3 minutes.
I feel like it's also confronting like your own pleasures, and that's just like a vulnerable thing to like look and be like, hey, what actually makes me deeply feel sensual and sexual, and then how can I express that in a way that others may or may not resonate with, but like to my authentic self.
And I feel like also too, so me and Stacy were writing the other day. And
Shopswitz?
Yeah.
Let's go!
And we ended up sort of creating this sort of beat that was like very like, it felt like very like Halloween and like kind of like dark, and it was weird for me because growing up, I wasn't allowed to participate like in Halloween. So like, you know, I sort of like steer away from like sort of dark things. But I started writing the song, and it's called Funeral. And I already have this crazy concept in my mind for it, and it's very dark, but it's about sort of throwing a funeral for the clone of you that is imposter syndrome, and that part of you like having to die. So it's like, you know, I'm throwing a funeral for the old me because I don't want to be an imposter anymore, sort of thing. So just sort of like dealing with dark things, but somehow infusing them with light, I think is going to be something that I want to do and play around with, you know, with dark things, imposter syndrome, sex, like all of those sorts of things, but like in a way that like feels true to me. And it's not sex for just being sex. It's not dark for just being dark. Like there's a story behind it and there's a reason behind it. So yeah, I'm really getting cerebral with this new material.
Yeah. I really feel that with my stand-up too. And it was, there was a few times where, you know, I'm like, I'm just going to say something what I feel is controversial, and see how that feels. And it's really in those moments of like failing where you're like, okay, I'm glad that I did it. Don't need to do that. Don't need that again.
Yeah.
But like you never would have been able to see where your line is. We just watched the Cat Williams live Netflix special, and he was saying pardon? Woke folk, it's called. And there's a part in it where he's saying that, like, this line that we cross, it's like a moving target all the time, and you gotta
know exactly like where the line is at any given time, because it could have moved slightly 3 inches to the right since Wednesday.
For sure.
I get that.
And then it's right here, and then you step over it, and it's like, whoa. I don't exactly remember where I was taking this, but just like I was talking to you, I think, before the podcast started about how I feel cringy right now in my stand-up journey, and how that's like absolutely, definitely part. Like, there's no one who's missing that cringe phase in their artistic journey. If you don't quit, you know, you can stop at the cringe phase and be like, this is too much. This is not for me, and I'm not gonna do it anymore. But if you keep going, it's likely you'll get to the other side of it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what it is. It's just sort of
and then you'll probably get back there again, right? Like, you're going to expand your comfort zone through this new expression and figuring it out for yourself, and then that won't feel unfamiliar to you anymore. So then you'll crave the next thing that feels a little unfamiliar, because you're like, ooh, what am I going to do with this topic now? It's just like constant
the juice
curiosity.
The juice in that funeral song is real. If you didn't invite me for a remix, I'm probably gonna teeth the concept.
You're trying to teeth, bro.
Bless up. Thanks, Stacy and Jim. Here's a song that you inspired. No, that concept is so real. It touches on all the points that everything you're saying is. You have to kill an old version of yourself. You know what gives me vibes of Rihanna, a murderer. Remember that?
Yeah.
I didn't want, but she's talking about cheating. But she's like, but I didn't want to be a murderer, because like it kills me inside, and I know it's killing him inside. And she's cheating, but it's like the whole thing is just like that beautiful dark melodic thing, and that speaks so true to that imposter syndrome. Because you're constantly stepping into that next version of yourself. Like Winnie's constantly becoming the comedian of Winnie Clark that has a Netflix special or has a whatever the hottest streaming service special is in that time. You know, could change next Wednesday. But like, you have to deal with mourning the old version of yourself. And that's so... You have to be so relentlessly moving towards a new vision that it feels like death. It feels like killing of something.
Mm-hmm. Same thing about getting kicked out of your place when you don't want to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How do you navigate generating those new feelings? Because I think a lot of people get caught in a wave of like, but like I just like got to find a way to stay comfortable. You're right. Sometimes you don't have a choice and the universe makes you move. But like to put to rest old habits sometimes comes with old friends or I'm calling them old, but in the actual period of someone's life going through it, it's the present still. Mm-hmm. You have relationships that are fulfilling roles on each side, right? Mm-hmm. And like sometimes to move forward the new, you have to like let those die. And that's tough.
It is really tough.
How do you explain to yourself, or how are you generating the new feelings? Because me, myself, I read a lot of, it's not even about the money, it's about the wealth mind state. Mm-hmm. I wish to always talk about ideas. Mm-hmm. It's just high level thinking. So I read a lot about like how to become a billionaire basically, but it's basically just how to organize your thoughts to like have more clearer thoughts. And it's kind of telling me like, you know, to manifest law of attraction, like think and be from that place. Mm-hmm. Or whatever you want to manifest, be from that place. And it's just sometimes hard to like put on those clothes if you're looking at a different system. You want to be an entrepreneur, you're stuck in a job. You want to be a superstar, you're middle class artist. There's these new clothes you have to put on. You almost don't believe yourself. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, but you have to kill. I love that song because it's like, motherfucker, it's like Eminem killing Slim Shady, It's like, you have to go. Like, you're no good for me.
Lil Dicky has that episode where he murders like a 9-year-old. Do you remember that episode? He like squishes him in the birthday cake, I think.
But it's him, right?
It's him.
It's him.
It's his inner child.
Yeah.
That bruised inner child that was always
it's like, stop
making
crying.
Jokes to lighten up the mood.
And could never really get the girl.
And could never be serious or vulnerable or be a mess. Sometimes we just need to show up messy because that's what our authentic self is in that moment.
That's what it is, though. I'm going to cut you off really quick.
Please.
Being comfortable with showing up messy.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. So on the way to the new vibration, accepting that you're a child at this.
Yeah, but like showing up messy in the sense that it's like, okay, I'm not having the best day. Like, be honest about it.
And that
be
requires
vulnerable.
some compassion for self as well, because
I'm not doing so great.
Yeah,
self-compassion.
I'm gonna make it, but yeah.
Because when you would, there's different lanes when you finally admit like I'm not doing so great. Like some people's go-to would be like, let's do everything then. Like action is the way out of this. And then other people's go-to would be like, I'm going to sit on the couch and watch TV and numb out for the day.
Mm-hmm. Literally you and me, those two examples.
But whatever your sort of inclination is, if you start going down that path, not necessarily the best path for your being, that has to be met with compassion. Like you have to be, I feel like there's a layer of like, you have to be constantly forgiving yourself as you're kind of showing up as a piece of shit sometimes.
And, I just will continue to show up like how I am feeling instead of trying to fake the funk all the time. Because when you have the right people in your life, it doesn't matter how you show up because they meet you on your level. Yeah. And that's what, true community, true friendship is. And if you have people in your life that you can't show up messy with, then maybe you have the wrong friends.
Facts. Yeah, if you the best and the worst, right? Take me at my best, take me at my worst. And that's just like, you gotta have that compassion sometimes to even just like splash the fucking Kool-Aid and be the problem at the party, and then just even immediately forgive yourself in hopes to work through it with a better understanding. Not being so attached to always being right. I think that's such a frigid, fragile state to be in. That's like, oh, I can only ever be like acting perfect. And it's like,
well, that was the lady in the laundry room, right? Like she couldn't.
I set a timer.
Couldn't be wrong.
How could I have been wrong if I set a timer?
Yeah.
That's a good full circle right there. lit.
This has been fun.
Yeah.
Dude.
This has just been like a nice catch up, honestly. It's been way too long.
It has been.
So necessary.
Yeah, it's really nice to see you.
It's really
And
nice to see you
spend
too.
some time in your essence.
Love, bro. Yeah, I'm getting all sorts of vibes. I'm getting all sorts of like, I remember the inspiration that we felt time ago, and it's just like still like right now.
Yeah.
Love, bro. Thank you so much for you.
Is there anything you want to say? Leave the people with?
Drop on the people. Other than like,
Before we-
we'll put all your stuff in the description. Definitely say where to follow you, but also like, yeah, anything on the wave.
Yeah, I guess.
Or you could talk about your music journey a little bit more if you like.
Yeah.
We don't have to run away.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think about like what.
Like as of recent, I feel like we touched about on a lot of the past, which is great to like get here. Maybe also we owe an episode too. You know, like to catch up, like, you know, from where we are now to then. But I mean, that's pretty cool that you have your recent gig there at Casa Loma with Jelly Black. That was fucking fun.
So I don't know if you saw that particular video, but I was dancing like with, you know, a bunch of my friends and, you know, singing the words of her song, and then she went like this, and I was like, and she's like, and I was like, and then I walked up.
Do you think she recognized you because she know you?
Well, it was the second time I was playing because I opened Casa with her.
Yeah.
And I closed Casa with her.
Yeah.
So she went like this when she was singing 7 Day Fool.
Oh, gosh.
And then she handed me the mic.
Best. Her song.
And I
did your thing.
And I did the thing, and it was like, I think that was like one of my favorite musical moments that I've ever had, because I just look up to her so much, and I feel like she's affected so much change, like not only in the industry but like in Canada. And she's so wise, and just, oh my goodness, puts
Powerful.
on a show like no other person, and
Amazing.
you can't help but like, you know, sort of be sucked into the world of Julie Black, and she tells these incredible stories between songs. Best rendition of Redemption song I've heard.
Really?
Whoa.
She does a rendition of Redemption
Oh,
song.
I
It's
could see
incredible.
that.
Oh my
Her
gosh.
voice tone for the verse in that song would be perfect.
It was wild.
Shout out
but-
Miss Black.
Shout out Miss
So
Black.
amazing. Such an incredible talent. We're lucky to have you.
Yeah.
That's always, I'm like, wow, you're like, you held it down for Toronto by like sticking around. Because she's definitely like a world-class talent.
She definitely is, and just you know, working with Lucala, who I feel is doing some really incredible things as, like, you know.
Is that Lulu from back in the day?
Vanessa Lou.
Yeah, Vanessa Lou. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So she.
Oh yeah, I didn't see her do her thing. She has a crazy music video out too.
Like the
Such a
way
good
that
song.
she approaches like pop.
What up,
music,
Lulu?
and you know, as a black artist, because, you know, they always want to pigeonhole us and be like, oh, you're R&B, like you're soul, you're this, you're that, you know.
Yeah.
Just being an unapologetic like pop artist, like
True.
bringing back sort of like the 70s and the 80s, like with the disco and the, you know, synths and all of that sort of thing, and seeing someone like that's doing the type of music that I also do, like just do it so effortlessly.
You are with the spirit
Like,
of the
it's
disco.
So it's just so inspiring, you know, and it inspires me to, you know, follow sort of like in her footsteps, and, you know, just to have the chance to like play with her.
Yeah,
It
she's
just-
always been nice.
It
I
just
remember her
meant
from
so
a lot.
much to me.
Right,
No, that is
yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
And yeah, you just constantly align with that energy that is like quality music. That's a beautiful thing. I'm so excited to see your future projects.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see yours too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's give Jem some money.
Yep, and go stream
Get
his
Jem
music.
some money.
And are you? It's so impressive your schedule. I was gonna say, are you throwing any shows? Like, you don't need to produce your own shows. You probably do and probably are, but like you get booked as well. It's so cool.
It's a combo.
It's a combo.
Yeah.
Are you producing anything?
So I have a show with an artist named John Orpheus at the Rivoli on November 29th. I hope that that's right.
This won't probably be out
by
at
then.
that point.
Oh, okay.
But we'll share it on our socials anyway.
Yeah.
And then December 13th, I have a show at Collective Arts Brewery
Nice.
with a bunch of the people on the label that I work with. Shout out Lovetown Records.
Oh,
What?
cool.
You're on a label?
Yeah, so it's like a collective of a bunch of like Toronto, Guelph, London artists.
Okay.
And yeah.
When did this happen?
So I've been working with them since we'll say like let's say like maybe the beginning of this year.
Okay. Cool.
Or the end of like last year. So I put out Get Your Shit Together like on that label.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And they got the benefit of you getting that grant.
Mm-hmm.
Sick. Congratulations. No, that's good. It's cool to have a firm to rep with.
Mm-hmm.
And do you fuck with the other artists that are on it?
Fuck, it's not like I insanely fuck.
Insane, like bang.
Yeah.
Like bang the shit out of.
Like they're
I love
amazing. Like so there's like She Bad, they're out of Guelph. Bitter and Broke is out of Toronto. Disaster Pony is out of Toronto. Sunshine Makers is out of London, who I also play with occasionally and played the keys on the record. And
Sunshine
have some,
Makers?
backing vocals
that what you
and
said
stuff
there?
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
That's a
so
cool
sick.
Amanda
name.
Movio. There's like a bunch of us.
Oh my god, that's so good. I love that. You have a little fam clan. That's blessed. When you just said played keys, I just got a vivid memory of what was Little Oliver's studio name?
Oh, I can't even remember.
Where we
but I
tracked
remember
Same
Ollie.
Love?
Yeah.
And you did this delicious, we tracked this song that we wrote live off the floor. It's still such a great song. I'd love to redo my verse.
I'm ready. When
Like-
you want to read, I'll redo mine too.
Yeah, we should
Let's put it out again.
Yeah, let's put it out updated and nice, but like I think the hook and the music that you wrote for it
Yeah.
is perfect.
And I'll be able to carry the falsetto a little better. You remember how I was? I was like, I sound so bad, and you're like, no, you sound, and I'm like, yeah.
I loved it, but you introduced me to gospel notes. I don't know what the progression is, but it feels real good, and we have a bouncy da 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 da. I think that's still heat. We could mix it a little more like urban, like nowadays. But we tracked a live off the floor, and I just remember every time, because I was running with y'all, we were all tracking. Like, I would do the rap verses, and just because everything worked. I remember Fat Sound, though, at one point was like, drums are done. Remember that? He's like, I did the drums. But you introduced this, like, clong, 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 like, thing. What is that? Can you, because you showed me God. It was a 2-5 or something transition.
Hold on. If it's an A minor,
it was in the bridge.
So I think it was 5. Oh my goodness, I can't even remember.
It was
but
a
I know what you're
2-5.
talking
No, it was
about.
like a gospel
Yeah, I
ass
think
step down or
it's
something
like that. Yeah.
And it's like it's just like this little vampy
like,
section.
Yeah. Like when I go same love, same love. At that part, yeah.
And I remember just like Benny strumming it.
Oh, Benny.
Stacy playing it.
Yeah.
And just like you doing the keys and me looking over in like the dark wood of the studio, and just like we were all doing it live off the floor. We had the separators, and that I remember some first early feelings of something like turning in me, like what the fuck is that? Because I had always been attracted to blues, and like obviously I'm a rap artist. But like that literally dragged me into like, oh, I'm gonna need to like sing then. Like something happened with that transition that you wrote that made me like, remember I would play it like over and over. I broke our CD player in our car, basically rewinding that. And yeah, that was so special. What do you think led you to that? Are you just kind of your musicality is at a level where you're like, it can't just be the same loop over and over again. Like, you're not a rap producer. You're going to have to throw some flavor in. Is it going from the here? Or are you informed by something? Like, did you start playing music in church? Like, what is that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like it's a combination of so many different things because, you know, ever since I was little, I would be taking lessons, which was like more in the classical realm.
Okay.
But then I sort of shifted over to jazz, like I think when I was 11 or 12, because I'd locked myself in my room because I didn't want to go to lessons anymore, because at that point I was just sort of like, you know, the classical piano playing Kiwanis, competition winning, you know, sort of very like in a box sort of kid. And I didn't want to do that anymore. So my parents were like, okay, so we'll mix it up. So I started learning world and jazz music along with classical. But then at the same time, I was listening to, you know, all the pop stuff on the radio. And I was like, well, this is what I want to actually be playing. So it would be a lot of my mom like, yeah, Jam, no, I know that's not what your teacher gave you. So you need to play, and then you can have fun after. And then also it was going to church and playing for church. So it's just sort of like all melded together, like the gospel on one side and the jazz over there, and then the classical on this side, and then the pop sort of all coming together to create a sound.
Do you appreciate now that you're obviously older and it's affected you, that your mom was like, no, you have to do the work first and then you can play after?
Oh, I'm so grateful.
Yeah,
she would sit at the piano with me.
Yeah. My parents just let me do whatever my heart desired, and I never stuck to anything. I have never been good at passing the cringy phase. That's why I'm having such a weird time in stand-up right now, because I'm like, oh, I want to do it, but I don't want to feel it.
I hear that.
Like, let me just like put a numbing cream over my entire body for like 6 months to a year, probably. Yeah. Like, it's gonna take a minute. I know how long it's gonna take for me to not feel cringy anymore, and it's like, damn. Yeah. But I guess that time's gonna pass anyway.
It's like when you like cut your hair.
Yeah.
And you know, you're in the phase where you have the hairstyle and it's at its prime and you're feeling good, and then you have to cross that awkward in between phase. Like, it's just something that happens because you're gonna just cut your hair again and want to try something different, and then go through that stage again. And it's okay. It's all a part of the process, right?
It's okay. Yeah. That's what I just need to keep reminding myself.
Yeah.
And then hopefully I'll crack out of my cocoon at some point and become a beautiful butterfly.
You will?
It's starting. I'm starting to wiggle.
Yeah. Wiggle it up.
Ooh, do you hear my...
Yeah, your
it's a little ASMR for...
Oh my God.
Bro, thank you for so much that you've brought our life in perspective and all the amazing music and times that we've spent together.
Thank you for having me here.
Much more,
congratulations. Keep going. The world needs your voice. I play you in my hit classes sometimes. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. So you're being shared.
Where can people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram at J3M Sings, also on TikTok, on YouTube, on Bandcamp, pretty much anywhere. Or you could just make it real easy and go to my website, www.j3msings.com, and all the links are there. You can buy tickets to any of my upcoming shows.
Oh, great.
You can read press. You can see my pics, like whatever you want to do. Like,
and
you can join my
fans?
mailing list.
OnlyFans?
No OnlyFans.
Not publicly.
Not yet.
That comes after you get famous.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, man. Oh, wow. Just, continue rocking on your journey. So excited to see where you're going.
Yeah, we'll have to do an update episode.
Yes. See how
in a year. See how she's going.
See how it was.
Sounds good.
Bro.
Okay, love you. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Love you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for watching.
Subscribe, like this, tell a friend, comment. Bye.
Awesome.
Welcome to Disciplined Stoners, the gateway drug to mindfulness.
To think that we started this podcast to fight a stigma, only to uncover so much love that we realized that you can't put your energy anywhere but what you want. And what we want is authentic conversation. What we want is quality medicine. What we enjoy is each other.
We get to learn from our guests. Man is the best. I would manifest this.
Part of the magic of the plant is how it uncovers what you've been hiding away.
So much love.
Look deeper. Feel more. Tune in.
So much love. Look deeper.
We're not here to be lazy.
Welcome to Disciplined Stoners.
We're not here to distract ourselves.
The gateway drug to mindfulness.
We're here to learn. We're here to grow.